memo. Thursday, 26 was the logical sell-off in TechBuy shares of Microsoft.
Welcome everyone. It is 10:30. We are here at the Community Center. This is a Third Mutual. To introduce to you the four people who have been by acclamation appointed to the board of Third Mutual and will begin serving three-year terms this October when we have our annual meeting. They will be seated at that moment in time. What we're going to do today is give folks an opportunity to ask questions of the candidates after the candidates each give an opening statement. And we'll start with the opening statement from my left, and then we'll go over to my right, and then we'll work our way in. So Donna Rain-Sosak, who is elected to a three-year term beginning October.
Thank you, and I'm delighted to be here. I've lived in Laguna Woods for over 16 years and have been a Third Mutual director for 5 of those years. I've lived here long enough to appreciate the incredible community we have and served long enough to understand the challenges our community faces. In order to maintain the incredible lifestyle we enjoy, we must be mindful that as our facilities and infrastructure age, maintenance needs are increasing. As a member of Third's Finance Committee, I'm acutely aware of the costs of that maintenance, as well as the need for innovative ways to maintain the community while controlling maintenance costs. As Third's Chair of Water Conservation, and through ongoing collaboration with El Toro Water District, I'm also keenly aware of the challenges posed by our lack of any natural underground water supply and our need to import and purchase virtually 100% of our drinking water, currently at a cost of over $4 million a year to Third. Prior to retiring, I was Dean of Health Sciences and Human Services at Saddleback College and also very involved in public service activities across Orange County, including 9 years on the board of directors of Saddleback Hospital, as well as collaborating with the Orange County Healthcare Agency and Orange County Fire. These activities provided valuable experience regarding roles and responsibilities of a board member in a complex nonprofit corporation such as ours. In returning to Third Board, I bring that experience, along with the continuity so important to ongoing projects, and most importantly, my strong commitment to our incredible Laguna Woods community.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll now turn to Norman Allen.
Hello. I have been owner for the past 5 years and a resident for the past 8 months or so, and have observed the operation of the Third Mutual from the outside. I looked at, I go for walks and I observe things, and I made several suggestions, friendly suggestions to VMS, and I was delighted to see they were very responsive and very friendly in carrying out most of those suggestions. So my purpose for running is primarily to be a member of this organization, to see it from the inside and see what improvements is there possible to make. My area expertise is in managing large organization, which means from the beginning to the end of management, which is planning, organizing, staffing, budgeting, reporting, coordinating, purchasing, and all that stuff. I've done them practically, supervised them for a while, maybe about 2 years. I've been involved managed a management consultancy organization in Afghanistan. I was the director of the department. It was a joint cooperation between the United Nations and the government of Afghanistan. And I also worked in the Prime Minister's office in the rural development for about a year. That's when the trouble started and my family got lost a member of my family there, and I was told to run. My father was in prison, so I came back to the United States, and I was married to a lady from Austin, Texas, and we lived there and started working with the University of Texas, also in management with the Graduate School of Business. Met some very significant people, and I got involved with the national politics and fundraised for people, and got a letter of appreciation from 2 presidents with a Medal of Merit for my services to the United States. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to sit idly. I would like to get involved in doing things, and I hope that I'll be a valuable member for this group.
Thank you very much. Next. Thank you. Next, we'll go to Jim Hopkins. Jim?
Thank you. I ran to continue to serve as a board member of Third Mutual. I've owned and lived in this community for 13 years. I've served on the GRF board for 4 years, first as treasurer and then as president. I also served 6 months on the VMS board before I was given the opportunity to serve as a member of Third Mutual. I currently serve Third Mutual as a member of 8 committees, including 4 GRF committees. In addition, I serve as trustee on the Laguna Woods History Center Board, a valued community entity supported by endowment and donations. First, I believe my experiences on the GRF and VMS boards and my extensive background in business and corporate leadership at IBM, Cummins, Metropower, and other corporations, including financial director at a large church in Loma Linda, can be a significant support to Third Mutual's goals to provide superior service, sound logic, and practical judgment, and reasonable financial stability for the current and future residents of the community. Second, my commitment to deliberation and working with all parties involved to solve problems and resolve issues allows me to strive to consider all data, input, and options in that process. And lastly, I give a presentation that we developed about the purpose, the founder's purpose and his goal in bringing our community to fruition, and a commitment to seniors that he implemented and really cannot be duplicated. This was over 60 years ago. With that said, I've always said the best way to learn is to teach. And I've learned to become more committed in serving the community as I give this presentation and teach more, because the feedback I get from those that I give the presentation to, I find out every time what I don't know when they start to ask the questions. So I appreciate everybody here, the board members that I serve with, and it's a pleasure to serve with you.
Thank you, Jim. We'll now turn to Director Fox.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Howard Fox. We owe it to each other to be involved in our community to make it a better and safer place to live. I've spent my life volunteering and in many cases serving on the boards of various charitable organizations. Since moving to the village over 5 years ago, I've continued my service to the community, beginning with my involvement in our social club structure almost from the outset. I've served as treasurer of the Chicago Club and as treasurer, then president, of the Boomers Club. Over the past 2 years, I have served as a director of Third Laguna Hills Mutual, this past year as treasurer. As such, I chair the Finance Committee, monitoring operational spending and the creation of our budgets. I also serve on other third committees: Architectural Control, Resident Policy, and Governance. In my spare time, I also have the pleasure of serving on GRF committees: Finance, Traffic Hearings, Disaster Preparedness, Energy, Community Activities. And if that's not enough, I also serve on the VMS Audit Committee. I believe I bring a special blend of insight, common sense, and humor to the committees on which I have the pleasure of serving. Some may say otherwise, but I choose to take the high road here. We all have opinions and ideas on what can be done to improve Laguna Woods Village. As noted earlier, we owe it to each other to be involved and serve our community, be it with one of the governing boards or in the club structure of the village. We all have something to offer. I believe I've been of value to Third Laguna Hills Mutual these past 2 years and look forward to continuing our work. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. I don't know why I'm getting such feedback on this one. Thank you, Mr. Fox. We'll open up the floor to questions from the audience. I see that our audience consists of other members of the third board. So would any of you like to pose a question for our candidates? This is Director Parsons, Steve Parsons.
Yeah, good to be back from a little bit of vacation. I'd like to talk to Norm Allen for just a minute. What are some areas you think could use improvement from your standpoint of over the last 5 years?
Turn your mic on.
I think bringing a little bit more systematic management and episodic repairs, like when things break down, people report those breakdowns. We could systematize that instead of just piecemeal, which costs a lot of resources every time a person comes there. If we systematize that like we do the regular improvements, the long-term improvements such as the painting and the roofing, we might be able to save some costs by not wasting time on spending people every time something breaks. If we have systematic, for example, testing of the mechanical system, the sprinklers, and looking at the golf course where things are patches of brown and they are not getting water, why there is a brown spot, and look at the sidewalks or paved areas that are breaking down. Those are important things for the people who wants to move in here. I've observed that this is probably one of the best places in Orange County to live in for retired people. The amenities we have and the environment we have and the atmosphere we have cannot be found at this price range in almost anywhere in the Orange County. And so if we improve these small things, appearances, we will have a lot of demand for this area. And we can also improve the quality of life of members here. In addition, over time, we can improve on replacing dead plants with more climate-appropriate plants, probably with more plants that are I think it would be a lot better to have flowering plants that are more fragrant plants and they're climate appropriate and that are drought tolerant, so we can save resources on that. And then we need to do systematic observation. We have the grounds maintenance people we need to have somebody who can go there and inspect it maybe once every 3 months, or for the sprinkler system at least once every month. And then we can also improve the communication between the residents. We have a tremendous amount of resources in the residents themselves. A lot of people have language barriers. A lot of people don't know how the system operates. If we enable people to communicate better and then ask them to become like part of our extension, because that's ultimately who are running this place, we might get a lot more surprising cooperation for people. We can also improve the enforcement system by trying to make it not punishment-based, but reward-based, and make it more friendly and more appear more legitimate for people, instead of trying to be frowning on people and acting like an authoritarian enforcer. It's a lot better to have a friendly disposition toward people that are not aware of the regulations, and make them aware the first time and give them a warning. And if they don't cooperate, then there are other ways we can make them cooperate with us. So I don't know what other areas are there available for improvement. I'm sure there are a lot of areas in the management of the operation and the communication. There needs a lot of improvement for communicating between the residents and the management and the board. We need to create loopholes for feedback and also make sure those feedbacks are closed through communication. And we have a lot of resources. We do not have to add more people or cut budget. We can just do a lot more work with the amount of resources right now we are spending. That's my external vision, and I don't know what it's going to be like if I am part of the group and observe it for a year or so.
Director Karimi, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Mr. President, thank you. Well, it's a privilege. I worked with, at least 3 of the candidates, and I'm privileged to know you, Mr. Alla. And I know Ms. Donald Ransosak is the champion of water. And really, that's her passion. And really work on that. Mr. Hopkins is our historian and a logical person that, give us advice. Mr. Howard Fox, watching over our money and how we spend money. What would be you, the champion, if you're on the board? What would you like to be known as?
Well, I'm the champion of intelligence. I have a Fulbright scholarship, and I established myself from ground zero at age 32 to being invited to the White House in about 10 years' time in Austin, Texas. I am very tenacious. When I want to accomplish something, I almost always succeed. And so I ran, in addition to my job, I ran 2 businesses. I had a mortgage company and I had a real estate company. I got involved with contractors, with the remodelers, with the plumbers, and the general public. As a mortgage person, I learned how to manage money. When I came here, I didn't know that. I thought money grew on trees. So I had to take courses in finance and learn how to make money works. And so I learned how the money works very quickly. Now I'm retired at the ripe age of 47. And so I've been kind of floating around, enjoying my life. And I feel more useful if I get busy doing constructive things. And I've already done that from the outside. I mean, that's my passion, is to do things, get things done.
Thank you. I was listening to you when you're opening a statement, and you mentioned a lot about, involving the management of VMS and, you know, we have the mutuals and we have VMS board.
Right.
VMS is an independent organization, although it's owned by us, but it's an independent organization. And it has its board, you know, the VMS board, which oversees the activity and the performance of VMS. The mutual boards are governance, you know, board,
Right.
governance board. And we usually don't get involved with the management of VMS. How are you going to walk that fine line when most of your input is about getting involved with the management of the VMS, where this is a governing board? That goes for all of the candidates. We'd like to
Yeah.
hear that, how you distinguish between the two.
We have the power of the purse. Our role is like the legislature. We look at the budget items. We look at, view what's happened in the past year and see which line items are spending a lot of money. And through that, even though the board is managing the VMS, we can make suggestions to their board and then coordinate that with the GRF and other organizations to see if we can influence their activities. So I don't know how we can do it from here unless I get involved in the operation and see it, how it's done.
If I heard your question, it was how, given our role in Third Mutual, how can we and should we interact with staff, okay, and the board? And of course, you probably know I've always been a proponent of separation of responsibility and at the same time working together so that we accomplish common goals. I do believe we do a great job of doing that, given all of our backgrounds. I think as we move on and learn about the process, again, you said I was one of those that I like the process and logical. I think when we look at the process, our responsibility in Third Mutual is more policy-driven for the mutual and governance of the mutual. VMS has implementation. We can have our own opinions about the implementation quality, et cetera, and we can work towards constant improvement. And I think we all try to do that. We can make suggestions. I think it's a team effort. I think rather than a board being over or another board or another organization, I think working together, because I think we all want to do the best. And we all, when we contribute together, then we all rise. So my approach is to work together. That doesn't mean we don't, as a team, we don't necessarily, that it means that we also appropriately offer suggestions for improvement, perhaps criticize at times, but at the same time working towards a common solution for everything. And that's how I look at it.
Donna or Howard, would you like to address the same issue?
I would say that, you know, we are the face of our members and our residents. We don't involve ourselves in the daily activities of VMS. They are, as you said, their own corporation. Their job is to maintain and serve this community. And I see our role as two things. Number one, that communication with our residents to get them involved, to understand what it is this community is about and what they as members of the community can do. And we don't directly interact with VMS. If everybody on the board went to each of the departments and told them what they thought, no one would ever get anything done. And so I think one of the strengths of the board is that we allow that communication with our independent VMS group. We allow the communication through the department chair or the committee chair of any of our divisions. And we involve residents where we can. And so many people living in the village don't realize not only the complexity of the village and what it takes to maintain this village, but their role in helping support it. So I see us as the face of that, as well as encouraging cost savings initiatives. I mentioned earlier the challenges that we have with inflation, et cetera. And so encouraging those initiatives as well. Just the other day, I got to hear at the landscape meeting, we have stables, and there is refuse from the stables that has to get picked up and hauled away somewhere. And we used to pay a company to do that, and then we paid to have our landscaping hauled away. And then we bought mulch. And fortunately, through collaboration with some of the boards and the staff, came up with an idea, and GRF purchased for the community a huge tub grinder that turns everything into mulch. Everything's picked up now by landscaping, and just last week we heard from the landscape department that that saves the community $2.3 million a year. It's absolutely an astounding number. And so we have to support what they do and their initiatives when they're going to help us, and communicate that as well. So we're watchdogs, but at the same time, we're active ones, and on a very positive way.
Thank you. Director Fox, do you want to have a comment on this?
Sure. Actually, what they all said is, how can I improve upon that, right? Clearly, Third is responsible for the 6,000 somewhat homes in the Third, in Third Mutual. United has their homes, and then each of the boards has their areas of responsibility. We have opinions and influence to a certain extent on the other boards, but it's only ideas and opinions, and we really have no say and can't force them to do anything, just suggestions. Other than that, I can't improve upon what everybody else has said already.
Director Johnson, do you have a question?
So my question is for the returning members of our board. As you know, we have a lot of committee meetings and a lot of board meetings, and I would like to know if you have any suggestions on how we can reduce either the number of meetings and or the time we devote. Because I know many of us are working 40 hours a week, which my friends all laugh and they go, "You do that for free?" So I would like to hear from you if you have any thoughts.
Anybody?
Sure.
like to go first?
Sure.
Director Fox, please.
Yes, there are a lot of meetings. The regular recurring monthly or every other month meetings aren't really the problem as far as demands on our time. I put that on my calendar. I know every other month on Thursday I have this committee, and every month on this Tuesday I have the board meeting, and that's not a problem. Where it takes up a lot of your time, it starts to feel like we're being put upon, are all these special, extra, ad hoc committee that are, it seems like weekly, there's another ad hoc committee that somebody has to attend. And we all take turns, and we all have our share of these meetings, yet it's like Fridays generally afternoon, you have nothing to do until there's a meeting scheduled this afternoon for whatever. Or next, the last week of the month, especially when there's 5 weeks in the month, it's like, great, you have one meeting on Monday, let's say, and the whole week is off. And then somebody gets a bright idea that since everybody has the time off, let's meet on this and this and this, and all of a sudden we have 4 days of meetings again. That's the issue, is how do we rein in all the ad hoc committees we need to look, are some of these ad hoc committees things that could be done under the heading of some of the standing committees? And if they can, it would take a lot, I'd rather spend an extra half hour in a regular monthly meeting than have to schedule another day for 2 hours for one of these ad hoc committees. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, some of us have kind of been talking about that because lately, and it's budget season. So we know we have some extra meetings because it's budget and we'll be finalizing next year's budget fairly soon. But again, as Director Fox said, we can handle the regular meetings. We know when they are, it's fine. You know, we've said we'll do this, we know it, and we're good. And I think that one of the things that, because we have very enthusiastic, active boards, and everybody says, sure, I'll do that. You know, we've had an enthusiastic response to it. And so I think somehow we've gotten in the habit of adding in these extra meetings and just, and no one's saying anything. And so what I think we could do that would really help, because we do need to do that, otherwise we won't get new board members. They'll say it's crazy, you know, and it's not. It's wonderful. But I think one of the things, maybe we can make a concerted effort when we have to have a special meeting, to have it on the same day as another, you know, following another meeting. Sometimes we have a short meeting, and then we have a special meeting the next day. Maybe we could have that following it, you know, so that we're committed. And trying to not add in so many extra things. And once we set a special meeting, keeping that date. Just recently, we had, not from Third Mutual, but it's very important that we do serve on GRF committees. That's when the whole community comes together. GRF committees have GRF board members, as well as United board members, as well as Third board members. And that's very important. And I think that we have to, recently there have been some need to special meetings, and that's where the ad hoc committees mostly are, because they have things that come up and it seems like it's going to be a short-term problem. And so we just recently had a meeting that was coming up from an ad hoc committee, and some couldn't make it, so we got a special meeting called for a different date and the first one canceled. But then it turned out that not enough people could come to the second date, so now they're back to the original date again. But by then, everybody else had canceled their plan, you know, and moved them around, so now it hasn't helped. And so I think it's probably partly because we do have such enthusiastic boards and such committed boards that we all just do it. And so I would love to see that we figure out a way to be more efficient, communicate better when we, you know, keep to schedules as much as we can. The suggestion of having fewer ad hoc committees. And then we will also have more people from the community willing to serve on the boards, because we've got wonderful people out there who can and should be involved. So I don't know if that helps, but.
Director Hopkins, would you like a shot at this?
Sure. I kind of agree with everybody. I think sometimes we come on boards and we have special focuses. I tend to call them agendas. And so when other folks become interested in those special focuses, we develop special committees. We call them ad hoc committees. And sometimes that special focus or the purpose of that committee either declines or is no longer needed, and we forget that we've already established this structure called committee, ad hoc committee, and we continue to have it. I've seen this happen with several committees, and to be honest with you, in many cases it's with GRF. The mutuals tend to have, if they have a special committee, or we have a special committee, we tend to get it done, and it kind of dies a natural death, or the meeting frequency goes from every month to once a quarter. We think it continues to have focus. Perhaps it is up to the leadership in each board to sit back and say, hey, do we really need this committee as a ad hoc committee continuing? Do we still need this committee, or the frequency should change? keep in mind, too, that there is a cost, there's a hidden cost to every meeting, not only our time, but staff has to be at every meeting, all right? And they have to put on every meeting. They have to take minutes for every meeting. So all of these things, and at the same time, we say, staff, drive down the cost, and yet here we are in our little playground called meetings and board meetings and committee meetings. We're playing against our own purposes in many cases. So yeah, it's a challenge, but sometimes you have to step back and just look at what's the solution to it.
Okay, thank you. We have two board members who are on Zoom. We have Craig Wayne and Peggy Moore. Craig and Peggy, do either one of you have a question for the four people who are going to be appointed to the board for October?
I'm afraid that I did not get to hear them, so I do not have any questions.
Okay, Craig? Okay. Do any of the three of you out there have any other questions? Director Parsons?
I really believe in long-range planning, and I think a lot of people do. The value that you can gain from it is significant. And I'll use an example. Third Mutual has spent a lot of time looking forward on insurance. And that's something that's been happening for, 5 years? And we're looking out another 5, 10 years. And it's really proven its benefit. So I'd like to ask any of you if you have a subject that we need to look at for long-range planning. It could be your own, it could be something that you've heard from people. It could be in the financial area. One area is the monthly assessment. How could we attack that maybe from a different angle? But just something that you have that you'd like to bring forward, that you may not have been able to do that in the past.
Okay. Would anybody like to go first?
Oh.
I see Norm Allen.
I don't know.
Going on? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how much influence we have on making the place more attractive, our village. It's mostly the grounds maintenance people. We should have a long-term policy of replacing dead plants with better plants and try to get drought-tolerant plants and try to improve the sidewalks and paved areas that when people come here and they're looking for a place to stay, if they go in that area, they look very dilapidated. It's very little cost, and it will make the place appear very, very appealing. So that's my area of concern right now. The rest of the stuff, I'd have to look at it. About ad hoc committees, we need to find out which board or organization is asking for a lot of ad hoc committees, and gather statistics and find ways to communicate. Communication is the best solution. And I'm sure if they're coming from other boards, we can tell them, you know, it's taking your time, it's taking my time, so we have to find a way to reduce our time spending on ad hoc topics and find ways to reduce these and push it up to regular committees. If it's not a burning issue, like there's not somebody's dying or somebody's burning, there's no need for having ad hoc committees. We can organize it with our regular meetings and have more time dedicated. Like you say, half an hour more is a lot better than wasting another day.
Anybody else? Donna?
Yeah, I think just some things that we've gotten much better at. One is allowing the staff to do what they need to be able to do. There was a time when board members were, and should not have been, but were going directly to staff and taking time and taking them away from their duties. And plus, they get one board member said, do this, the other one said, do that, and they didn't know where to go. So we now have refined that to the committee chair is the only one who would communicate with VMS to give them the time to do their job. The other thing is, I think that we need to involve our residents more. We heard a mention of our monthly assessment and the fact that, yes, it's going up. I was thinking back, when we bought our first house, we paid $27,000 and thought we'd overpaid, you know. And now you can't get a garage for $27,000. And so costs are going up. That we understand. And we also understand that we've got a community, that the facilities are aging and need some work and repaired. So I think if we can get our residents more involved in the things that they can help with, and that's the issue. So getting back to my passion of water, we don't get a water bill. We get a monthly assessment, and buried in that assessment is the residential water bill. And our residents, us, we, can cut down and make a difference. And we always keep saying, well, what can staff do better? What can whoever do better? And I think that if we get people involved and understand the value of it, and let the people who work here and support them. Norm, you said that, and rightly so, that we have to focus on drought-tolerant plants and things. What you don't know, because you haven't been on the board, and welcome to it, is that virtually 100% of the plants that are put into this community are grown in our own nursery now. Not before, but now. And it's because we've allowed the landscape people to do what they feel they need to do. We just heard this wonderful, thorough report that it costs, now that the nursery is really going well and is established, any plant that we put in costs us approximately $1 for the plant. And they've refined things so much that the worker in the field who realizes a plant needs to be replaced can put that order in from their phone to the nursery, and it's waiting for that worker the next morning when he or she gets to work to replant it. That's efficiency. Those are the kinds of things that will help keep our costs down. What was interesting is those plants that are now costing us $1 a plant, if we bought them wholesale from the wholesalers, you're talking around $8 a plant. And if you went to Home Depot, you're talking about $20 a plant. So it's giving them the ability to do what they can do and not going to them with small things that maybe are inappropriate for us as individuals to be dealing with. And getting the community to understand these are the things that are happening that are helpful. What can you do? You know, what can you come up with? Because I understand that the suggestion, and I hope that's correct because I wasn't living here at the time, but I understand that the suggestion to take the refuse from the stables and not pay to have it picked up and the landscaping and turn it into our own mulch the way we're doing it now, I've been told that that was sort of a combined idea from both residents and staff. And so again, I think we need to be innovative, but we also need very much to get our residents more involved and understand what they can do. And it's not a small thing, so.
Director Hopkins or Director Fox?
Long-range planning. Well, where do we start? Long-range planning here is very, very difficult. And that doesn't mean it can't be done. And maybe it's item by item or et cetera. But one of the things we have is our structure. We can turn over directors 1/3 every year. Coming to an agreement that, hey, this is the direction we are, on each individual item may be tough unless there's a mutual goal in mind. So I say all of this with, if we don't know, we need to understand what this is, what this community is, and its intent and purpose by the founder. It was not meant to be necessarily just a piece of real estate for each one of us. So understanding that, he had a goal in mind. That was active seniors. The place or plot of land that we lived on, remember, the first were co-ops, then became condos because that was economically more feasible. From that, He said, look, all you do is take care of the inside of your house, we'll take care of the rest. Now, as he started to build, obviously, people start to look at their own plot of land in front of them as their own, okay? And that was what we were used to. That's not the case. It's the condo concept, okay? It's a condo. So what does that mean? All of the policies and things that we on Third Mutual have to first see the condo first, the condo concept first, which is the corporation, and then the individual wants/needs, but also in keeping with the policy aspects of the purpose of the intent of the village. So there's some, I'll call it competing challenges there. So with all of that said, long-range planning needs to be more conceptual or by subject, like particularly lawn care, etc. That can happen. But I'm not sure that the village long-range planning needs necessarily changing, because the founder put a pretty decent job of creating the foundation, which, again, in my presentation, it comes to a conclusion. The foundation of this village is shared cost, as well as what's the word I'm looking for? Shared value. Shared value is really what it should be, as well as the trust which was put in place to keep all of that together. So with that as a foundation, strategic initiatives can be on subject by subject, but I would not necessarily apply that to the village in general.
Director Fox, anything?
Thank you, Mr. President. Long-term planning. In a normal organization, it's a great idea. We could sit here, have a direction. We're not turning over the management team every year or 2 years, as Director Hopkins alluded to. And then we would set plans in place for every aspect of the village, and off we go, and it would be great. Unfortunately, that's not the world that we in Laguna Woods live in. We change our board every year. We only have responsibility for our 6,000 homes, and we're at the mercy of what some of the other boards do within the village, in particular the GRF, which administers all the activities that go on in the village. And that can have a huge effect on our member owners, sorry. So personally, long-range planning to me would be keeping money funneled into the reserves, because as this village continues to break down and is 60 years old and we are in the midst of it, money continues to be set aside to renovate, or in some cases, as we're discussing, rebuild some of the buildings. But best laid plans, we do this, and in 2 years our board changes and they have a different vision. And no matter how ironclad we try to make our plans, we're at the mercy of the next regime. So hopefully they buy into what we're trying to do. We can only hope. So far, we're doing pretty good on this board in this respect, and hopefully we can keep it up over the next few years.
Okay. While I wasn't asked a question, I do have a comment. This is a commercial at the moment. On Wednesday, August 26th, from 3 to 4:30 p.m. at the PAC in the main auditorium, we are going to have a formal presentation on Zone Zero. That is something that is important to Third Mutual in terms of long-range planning. It's going to be a 3, 4, 5-year project. It could cost upwards of $12 million to implement all the legal requirements that have been foisted on us by Orange County Fire and the state of California. and it has to do with something that Norm Allen addressed, has to do with all the plantings within a certain distance of the units. There are 540, I believe it's 545 units in Third Mutual that are directly affected by the requirements of Zone Zero. Zone Zero has to do with a fire hazard, and those that are in Zone Zero are considered in the highest risk for fires. And therefore, we will have this town hall, and hopefully lots of people will attend so they can, A, understand what Zone Zero really means, how the potential impact for them, and also understand what kind of planning Third Mutual is engaged in for the next 3, 4, 5 years, just related to this one topic. That's my commercial. Okay? Anybody else? Comments, questions?
I do want to say, if we talk about things that we as the board can do to help the community, this movement towards when there's a great big issue like Zone Zero, or the installation of our new wonderful, exciting Ting project for the internet, instead of hoping that people read things or somehow get a hold of publications that'll describe them, this board has started having town halls, not at one of the clubhouses, but in the PAC, in the Performing Arts Center. And we've had, let's see, the Ting one where there are 300 people there. That's what I'm talking about when I say if we can help people get more educated to what's happening. Zone Zero, there have been rumors going around. There's all kinds of things. It's what's going to happen. And of course, as you know, the rumor mill has a tendency to escalate and exaggerate things till I'm sure we're going to be pretty sure that if you listen to that, there will be no landscaping anywhere in this village in 5 years. That's not what it's going to be. And the question is, how do we do that? So I think that that's one of the things that makes a difference. You've had bigger meetings on things like insurance, you know, and not hoping that someone comes to the board meeting, but that we bring the board to them. And so my commendation to President Muchnick, who really started making them bigger, and so thank you for that. And I think it is incumbent upon us to publicize for those homes, units that are in Zone Zero, especially, that they know about this and that they come so that they can understand. And frankly, it's a moving target because not all of the details of Zone Zero have been finalized by the state and Orange County and CAL FIRE. So it's a moving target. And so and that's what I think what I've been talking about is get that knowledge out there and making things available and letting people know that when we do have a big town hall like that, that gets put onto our YouTube channel and anybody can watch it anytime they want to. I understand that it no longer is as easy as it used to be to get to our YouTube channel, and we probably should try and make that a little more accessible. Used to be you went to the website and on the homepage, you just clicked up in the upper left corner and went right to our YouTube channel and said, I want to see the Ting thing, or I want to see the Zone Zero meeting. And it was there, so the rumors didn't have a chance to grow. Now it's a little harder, and we're in the midst of the Ting project, so I'm hoping that we put as a priority getting that YouTube. We have the channel. Getting it more accessible would be a good thing. So thank you for doing that.
Director Fox, you have a comment?
Yeah, along those lines, so it's 545 homes that are directly affected right now. This points up the ongoing issue of communication with our member owners, because I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that the majority of those 545 people are unaware of this whole Zone Zero project. I have friends who have reached out to me in the last couple of days, and they were approached and told that they're going to have like the 5 foot around. They had no idea what they were being told, and they're reaching out to me like, what are you doing? Kind of thing. You're on the board. This is your problem. And I had to talk him down that this is a state thing and a county thing and the fire department, and we have nothing to do with it. We are at their mercy just as they are. However, what it pointed out is that through all our communications and emails and town halls and events at the PAC and articles in the Village Breeze, and we have hit with every conceivable way of telling everybody what's going on, and half the people there don't have a clue. And I don't have an answer as to how you reach 272 of the 545 people who are going to see somebody digging up the plants around their house, and they're going to be calling resident services and calling the police. Somebody is doing this to my house. And I don't have an answer how you fix that. Maybe I don't know, knocking on doors of all 545 homes. That's kind of a big project. And I wouldn't put that on my worst enemy. So just a comment, that's it.
Norm, you had a comment?
Yeah. I think a solution might be to send everybody an email. We have the membership list, and let them know what's happening. We can do a lot of that stuff by email, or we know which manners are going to be affected. We have the list of those people. We can send them selective email to those people.
An email is going out Wednesday of next week, specifically about the town hall, about Zone Zero. It's already been written, it's already set up, it goes out 10 o'clock Wednesday, next Wednesday, to all 6,102 residents.
Yeah,
Director?
in light of that, though, and we've been talking about the need for better communication, we do have What's Up in the Village, which staff has done and initiated and put together, but it's got several items in it. And Zone Zero was pretty far down the list 2 weeks ago, and under the heading of Ting, even though it wasn't Ting, it was mentioned that Zone Zero plantings would start. And the following week, some folks had some plants removed as the beginning of Zone Zero. And so we have to be better at that, but I think we have to send an email. We already sent the email, and it doesn't work. We've got to find better ways to do it. And find ways to do it that don't cost a lot of money. I mean, you know, we could put on door hangers. How much does it cost to deliver all of those and print them and make them and whatnot? So we've got to get better, and part of that is going to be having our own members who do read it know and communicate that to somewhere we've got to put some of the responsibility on the community itself.
Jim, you want to say something?
Yeah, it's interesting because as we talk about it, you know, there are people who say, how do we contact 545? Of course, we're reaching out to 6,000, which is what we should, because there's not 545 that are paying for it. It's 6,000 that are paying for it.
That's right.
All right? And so regardless of those that are visually affected, it's 6,000 that are financially affected. Thank God for the concept of shared value. It's not 545, it's 6,000. So again, you know, the whole concept of who we are, what we are, the condo concept. I know where I live, I'm part of Third. I share, because of the type of home that I live in, I share a plot of grass that someone in a particular, another area, I say the same size as someone, I share it with 20, is it 8 and 6, with 22 homes, manors, that someone else may have in front of their own home. That's shared value. So my point is, we need to understand, and I think we all do, that it's not just what we see in front of our own unit. What we're doing is managing the condo concept as the shared value. That's, you know, that's my preach for the day. Shared
All right.
value.
Anybody, any other questions? Any other comments? All right, we'll allow now, if you have a closing comment, or we all talked out. All right. It is now 11:30. We've been at this for about an hour, and so I will say at this point that we are prepared to conclude. You've had an opportunity, members, to hear and see the 4 board members who will all be seated at the October board meeting, and we thank you for your indulgence in terms of your attention for the last hour, and I thank the 4 board members for their participation. And at this point, we'll call it a day. Thank you. We're still on.